Shalom, Yasharala. This your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this here truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that root well. And salutation and much love for Yakim pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So I want to jump into this here lesson today. Pretty much just dealing with, truth, facts, and history. All right. When dealing with our people, when we try to teach our people certain things or whatever, whatnot, they have a lot of emotions that's involved with things. All right. Instead of looking at the actual facts of things. All right. Now, at any point in time, if you get caught up in Esau's court system or whatever, whatnot, you got to go see the judge and, you're looking for a bond or whatever, whatnot. What do they wind up doing? They go back to the so-called facts. They don't look at emotions or whatever, whatnot. If, a person keep getting arrested or whatever, whatnot, and every time they're supposed to show up to court, they always keep running, Now, the person, they can have their emotions and their feelings going on or whatever. Oh, my mom passed away. I wanted to go see her funeral. Then I was going to turn myself in. My child was sick. I had to go do this. I had to go do that. They can use all their emotions and everything else. Hey, but the fact of the matter is when it's time to get your new bond or whatever, whatnot, your new bail or whatever, whatnot, the judge is going to look at your prior history. All right. And the facts say, hey, look, every time we try to give you, a little leeway, your ass always ran. We don't really care about what the situations or what you can come up with, whatever, whatnot. And we don't care about how you feel. The facts of the matter is, this is what's been happening in the past, man. Like I think in California, they have a so-called 3-strike law, where they say, hey, look, or a couple states have these things. If you become a habitual offender, meaning you do the same thing over and over again, they be like, well, look, it's plain and obvious that these, you're going to continue down the same path, But nevertheless, when dealing with our people, they want to get into the emotions of a lot of things, and they don't want to actually look at the facts. All right. So we're going to look into the facts of certain situations that we're dealing with this here medical situation, the pandemic and things, and our people putting their trust into this here government. All right. Now, this message is directed to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, the Israelites. All right. We're not really worried. We're not worried at all about these other nations. All right. We don't care if the Edomites take all of this stuff or whatever, whatnot. This was commanded of us. All right. Now, our people like to get into so-called carnal arguments about, y'all keep talking about the so-called white man's the devil and this, and that, and so on and so forth, and all these different things, when it's like, all right, well, look at the facts. Look at how we've been treated since we've been over here. Oh, but they ain't did it to you in your lifetime. Like, yo, bro, all right, so, I just turned 33 years old, but we've been over here for 400 some years. So you can compare 400 some years of these atrocities they've been doing to us then over the, 33 years of my life. Like, wait a minute, looking at your past, just like I gave you the example of a so-called corp, like, yo, man, you done been in this here system, 100 different times, and 98% of the times your ass ran. You think we finna, now all of a sudden you done change your mind or whatever, whatnot. No, we're not going to put no trust into those things, But nevertheless, if you go back and you do real history, research into these things and look at the facts, all right, you would understand certain things about these things, man. All right. And this is where our people go off because they want to say, oh, well, you got to forgive and so on and so forth, man. All right. So let me start off by reading this here scripture first. And then we're going to read a couple. We're going to go into some facts about some things. All right. Because a lot of people want to dealing with our people. You know what I'm saying? They so damn smart, dumb niggas out here. Y'all got to take this here jab. Y'all got to go do, y'all crazy if y'all don't go do these things or whatever. Y'all, then they repeat the rhetoric that Esau's pushing out here about anti-jabbers or whatever, whatnot. I'm like, bruh, come on now. First of all, like, let me read this first line. Ecclesiasticus or Sirach, chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thy enemy, for like iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. So, going into these different things, well, we don't even got to go into our history. What the hell are you so-called Negroes out here marching for, talking about hands up, don't shoot, no justice, no peace? Who the hell is killing your sons down out here? Why y'all over here screaming about all these different things and so on and so forth? Who are these people that's oppressing you? Who are these people that's been killing you down? Who are these people that are refusing to prosecute these people that are murdering your children down in the streets, man? All right. Violently murdering them down in the streets for what? For being unarmed and just basically being jakes, man. All right. Now, on the weekends, you go out and you riot, you protest, and you so-called, you post your memes and everything about this and that, about how unjust this here system is and so on and so forth, or how black lives don't matter. And, well, you say black lives matter, but you're saying it to them as if they think that black lives don't matter. You have no right to say anything like that if on the same token, you're going to run to the same person and you're going to cut your own people off for saying, look, we don't trust them niggas over there, man. We saying the same thing. You don't trust them niggas around your kids with their guns and everything like that. But now all of a sudden they come to your kids with syringes, and now all of a sudden you trust them. All right. So let me read this here first, and then we're gonna go into these couple pages. This is Sirach 10 and 12, and I'm gonna read Sirach 12, starting at verse 10. I'm gonna read down to 14. It says, never trust thy enemy, for like iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. All right. So, hey, let me rephrase this for you jakes that can't quite pick up on that. All right. Never trust. You could basically say, never trust thy enemy, for like how ice melteth. All right. So is his wickedness, man. All right. You know that no matter what, if ice isn't kept to the freezing temperature or whatever, whatnot, it's going to melt, man. All right. You take ice outside. You know, nobody puts ice into a drink and expect it not to melt, man. All right. You know, people, hey, you better hurry up and drink that before it get all watered down. You expect that ice to melt. So how much more your enemies to be your enemies, man? All right. Verse 11, though he humble himself. All right. You have to understand who your enemy is. Your enemy is the devil. All right. The devil means the deceiver. All right. Now you have to understand the characteristics of a deceiver. A deceiver is not going to ever come to you flat out. You know, he would be so most people think that deceiver is basically just going to fuck you over. You know, well, a so-called honest person could fuck you over and be honest about it. Like, hey, bro, I'm about to go in your pockets and take all your shit or whatever, whatnot, you know? Just like a person that run up to you, put a gun in your head, like, run all that shit. Give me all of this right here and there. He's actually being more honorable than the other person. It's like, you know what? Sign up for this, and that. We've got the best, the 2008 housing crisis, man. We want to serve the underprivileged communities. We want to help you guys own your first house, because we know that's the first step to wealth in America. You know, they came to you sly, deceiving you, talking about that they had something good for you, all right? But then in turns, it came out and put you in a way worse state. So really, the dude who ran up to you with the gun out and the mask on and told you to get up out of whatever you had going on, he's a more honorable thief than the other guy. They both thieves, right? But one guy, you knew what the hell was going on when you seen the dude roll up with the gun out, mask on, and he telling you what the hell's going on. That's a more honorable thief than the person who's like, nah. We want to help you out. And then lo and behold, your ass gets screwed, man. You know, how many people went out and so-called bought cars or homes or whatever, whatnot, bought a cell phone or whatever it is, got a plan where it was advertised $39.99 a month, and you get your bills $150 a month, you know? Because why? They caught you by deceit, being deceitful, man. Deceiving you, all right? Telling you a lie, but framing it as something good. All right, Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 11. Though he humble himself and go crouching, all right, trying to be all, no, I'm just a feeble little dude. I ain't trying to hurt you. It says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. Set him not by thee, lest when he hath overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou are at the last. Remember my words and be pricked therein. All right. Hey, and this is also this is also like why the scriptures say, don't sit with another man's wife or whatever, whatnot, because, hey, as men, you understand how these things go. A woman could be going through the smallest little thing with her and her man or whatever, whatnot, and she's all feeling down about him. Maybe he don't, tell her she look nice or whatever, whatnot, and you pick up on that and you start feeding into that. She's going to ignore all the things that she got really going on with her man and focusing on this here one thing, But it's basically like they say gaslighting, Oh, yeah, we got the best interest for you or whatever, whatnot. But soon as, she let her guards down, you ain't really got your best interest for her. You just going in there to get whatever you want, and then you have to leave her to dry. And this is how a lot of women wind up leaving out of their, a stable relationship to go with some kind of fling, and then wind up realizing she made a big mistake. All right, because he came humbling himself, man. Had to do what it came. Nah, I just want the box. I don't care about you and your man or whatever, whatnot, so on and so forth. I'm not going to be here the long route. She wouldn't go with him like that, man. All right. Same with homeboy, man. All right, he's going to crouch and humble himself, all right, to try to, make you seem like y'all in the same playing field. He's trying to pull you up to his level or whatever, whatnot. But once you let your guard down is when, he come in for the attack, man. All right, again, look at the 2008 housing crisis, man. He made you feel comfortable to go out there and go get loans you couldn't afford because he made you feel like it was safe, and he was trying to help you get some kind of wealth here in America. You got to understand, you had wealth here in America, man. You didn't start out with wealth. When we came up out of slavery, we didn't have shit. All right, but you all know about Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Black Wall Street. That was in 1921, bro. We was damn near up out of slavery around the 1850s. All right, so we came from nothing to wind up having our own shit, and in fact becoming more richer than they were in their own households, or basically here in America, man. But then what? They wound up, hey, Martin Luther King. We need to integrate. We need to stop this segregation. But then they didn't realize when we integrated with them, we gave up our rights and ownership of everything that we had to give to him, to be close to him. And then now we back at the bottom with no resources. So how is it the man that took away our resources want to so-called give us back our resources, man? That just don't make no sense, man. You ain't never, Jake didn't been pretty much been robbed or had your car or something broken into. The thief ain't never came back and be like, you know what, dog, I done stole your radio last week. Let me come in and put your radio back in and fix your window. No, bro, that don't never happen, man. All right, well, the thief may try to sell you your shit back, but he's not going to just try to come and put your shit back right, man. All right. Verse 13, who will pity a charmer that is bitten with the serpent, or as such as come nigh wild beasts? So one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with him in his sins, who will pity? All right, so this is the same example I gave earlier about the judge. The judge understands these here verses, man. All right, he like, look, man, your prior records say that, you're a threat to society. If we let your ass go, you're going to keep running and so on and so forth. So if I'm the judge and I ignore all of your previous history and everything you normally would do and whatever, whatnot, and I let your ass go, all right, and you go out and I'm a judge and now I'm over here, presiding over a case of a mass killer, a rapist or whatever, whatnot. Now I let this dude go and he go and rape my wife, kill my wife and kill my kids. Can anybody really feel bad for me? They're like, well, if that was a real scenario, like, well, you was the judge that let his ass go. You know what his history is. Why would you let him go? I don't feel bad for you that this happened to your family, because it's better that it happened to your family than somebody else's family, man. You shouldn't have let this nigga go. And it's the same thing we're saying about the so-called white man. All right. Now, we're going to go from here and we're going to read a couple little articles, man, because we dealing with this here jab situation, man. All right. And you got to understand, Esau ain't never had you first and foremost in his mind, man. I heard Cuomo talking about something. He's not going to get jabbed up into the poorest parts of his community, get jabbed up and naming all the hoods in New York and everything like this and that. And like, whoa, 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 whoa. If it's such a big problem, you care so much about these people, these niggas out here that you really don't know. How many of these niggas would you really walk down the street without no security, none of that stuff? Would you walk down any of these blocks in these neighborhoods or whatever, whatnot, with no security or anything like that, man? All right. Do you really say that you care about these people more than you care about your own children? If it's that much of a problem, why not take care of your own household first before somebody else's household, man? That's not nothing strange. Nobody in their right mind will sit there and go pay for their neighbor's bills and go put groceries on their table and cook and feed their family before they pay their light bill and make sure the water bill and their rent at their house and buy groceries for their family. That don't make no sense. Nobody does that. So in these same things, you have to understand about your enemy and what your enemy's out here doing, man. All right, being deceitful. All right, so let's go into a little bit of history. This is called the Siege of Fort Pitts. All right, and this is one of multiple different occasions with this here scenario. When they talk about the smallpox situation with the Northern Kingdom. All right, the Siege of Fort Pitts took place during June and July 1763, and is give me a second. In what is now the city of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, United States. The siege was part of the Pontiac War. All right, and now again, this is Esau talking about all of this stuff. The Esau telling you what the hell he did to our people. All right. So it says the siege was part of the Pontiac War, an effort by Native Americans to remove the British from the Ohio country and Allegheny Plateau after they refused to honor their promise and treaties to leave voluntarily after the defeat of the French. Now, some people may, no, man, listen. This was the natives' land. Esau came over here and made treaties and broke these damn treaties, being deceitful. All right, this was before the so-called Negroes even got the Negroes started coming over here in like 1619. But nevertheless, come on, man. All the way back from the times we was coming over here, Esau was over here being deceitful and a damn devil, man. All right. It says the Native American effort of diplomacy and by siege to remove the British from Fort Pitt ultimately failed. What's funny is this is a new fort that they tried to wanted to build out here, and it's actually in this shape of this like the new Pentagon, But it says this event is best known as as an early instance of biological warfare. Again, we didn't come up with this. We not conspiracy theorists or whatever, whatnot. We just, hey, we historians. We looking at the history that y'all done Edomites documented. Edomites wrote down, and Edomites presented. They host these websites. They in control of these websites, man. All right, this ain't no Native American website where they talking about some trying to paint a picture or whatever, whatnot. All right, it says this event is best known as an early instant of biological warfare. All right, biological means basically bio means basically of life. All right, so war on life. All right, where the British gave items from smallpox infantry as gifts, like the scripture said, a gift destroyeth the heart. All right, surely oppression maketh the wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. All right, it says where the British gave items from a smallpox infantry as gifts to the Native American emissaries with hopes of spreading the deadly disease to nearby tribes. All right, so this is what they've been doing to the natives since basically, well, this is one of, not to say the first known times, but this is the time we're looking at. All right, in the 1700s. So they were with hopes of causing deadly harm. All right, spreading this deadly disease and biological warfare. All right, trying to kill off you so-called Native Americans, which are the northern part of the northern kingdom. All right, which are Israelites. All right, when you go back to biblically, these Edomites decided to give smallpox blankets to Israelites. All right, and so what's the big debacle about? The debate between Jacob and Esau and the so-called white man being the devil and the things that he's been doing. We not being emotional and just want to cuss this nigga out and call him all kind of derogatory names, because there are no derogatory names you can call Esau, man. The only derogatory name you can call him is an Edomite, all right, because that's who he really is. He's trying to hide from that. But all these other terms like crackers and shit like that, if you understand where crackers come from, basically they was cracking whips on Jake, man. All right, all these other terms you can call him, they're not derogatory terms to him, man. Calling him an Edomite, who his biblical nationality is, and exposing who he is, the only real derogatory name, because he wants to hide from his past. It's like calling a serial rapist a rapist. Like, well, there's nothing wrong with the word rapist, but if you a rapist and you ashamed of what you're doing, yeah, I guess that would be a derogatory term to call you, but maybe you shouldn't be doing what the hell you're doing. All right. So it says, the effectiveness is unknown, although it is known that the method used is inefficient compared to the respiratory transmission. These attempts to spread the disease are difficult to determine from the epidemics occurring from previous contacts with the colonists. So like I said, this wasn't the first time, but they had multiple different times where they were bringing their damn disease-ridden ass over here and started killing off Jake. All right, well, I'm going to read this here a little further down. It says, sometime in the spring of 1763, a smallpox epidemic broke out near Fort Pitts and subsequently spread there. A smallpox hospital was then also established there to treat sick troops. So they had hospitals and ways to treat the troops. If they were sick, they wouldn't want them to go out on the battlefield. But how did this wind up spreading? There had also been an earlier epidemic among Ohio tribes in the early 1750s. As smallpox outbreaks occurred every dozen or so years, according to John McCullen, who was held captive in some of the Montauk village warriors raiding in Janita settlement, caught smallpox from there that then killed some of them. In 1924, the Mississippi Valley Historical Review published a journal written by William Trent, a fur trader, a merchant commissioned as a captain at Fort Pierce for June 24, 1763. Trent wrote about meeting two Delaware Indians at the fort. Out of regard to them, we gave them 2 blankets and a handkerchief out of the smallpox hospital. I hope it will have the desired effect. What is the desired effect? Why would you give somebody some kind of infectious disease-ridden anything, material or whatever, whatnot? If it's killing your people, why would you give it to somebody else? And you hope it had the desired effect. What is the desired effect, man? All right, it's to kill these people off. All right. It says, the 2 blankets and a handkerchief from the infirmary were seemingly wrapped. It says, I lost my spot. Were seemingly wrapped in a piece of linen. The blankets and handkerchief were unwashed and dirty. All right, now they coming from a hospital. You first, you need to sterilize everything. All right. It says, in 1955, a record of Trent's trading firm was found. It had an invoice for the handkerchief, 2 blankets, and the linen to be given to the natives, and the expense was signed by Esquire. Esquire was relatively inexperienced, having only been a captain since April. The year before had been taken over the command of the fort the same November. Trent was likely the main orchestrator of the idea, considering he had more experience with the disease and helped out setting the smallpox hospital. All right. Half native Alexander McKee also played a part in parlaying messages, but possibly didn't know about the items. All right. And this is also how they use a lot of our people and community leaders with half information or whatever, whatnot, to persuade the rest of our people into walking into these traps, man. All right. And some of them, like, and a lot of these wicked ass things that happen or whatever, whatnot, people don't necessarily willingly do a lot of things. They're like, oh, like in the hospital, they give you these jabs or whatever, whatnot, for babies that are born. They tell you, oh, it's better for them, it's this, and that, or whatever, whatnot. And because they know that if you'll just listen to these things, you're not going to just actually read into a lot of these different things or whatever, whatnot, man. You're like, well, they wouldn't lie to me. They wouldn't tell me. Hey, look at Dr. Fauci. All right. Everybody listening to him because they got the word doctor in front of him. They put him on TV. They be like, well, the consensus is the doctor and the people on the TV and the government wouldn't lie to us, so we're going to believe them. All right. It says the plan was carried out independently from General Amherst and Colonel Boquet. The meeting happened on June 24th, the night before the two Delawares called for McKee and told him that they wanted him to speak with him in the morning. The conference took place just outside of Fort Pierce. The participants were Esquire, McKee, Turtlehead, and other Delaware Mahaltati, a chief. The two Delaware men tried to coax the people holed up in the fort to leave, an option that Esquire promptly rejected and stated that the reinforcements were coming to Fort Pierce and that the stronghold could easily hold out. So we're not going to read there no more. Let me read down a little bit more. It says, this is basically the invoice. Invoice of 1763, June. Levy, Trent and Company, account against the Crown. August 13, 1763. To sundries got to replace and con those which were taken from the people in the hospital to convey the smallpox to the Indians. 2 blankets, 1 silk handkerchief, and 1 linen. Basically, it was wrapped in one thing of linen. All right. So look, not only did they document these things, they had receipts for these things and so on and so forth, man. All right. They knew exactly what they were doing, man. All right. They planned, they orchestrated these things out for this here extent. Now, let's look at some more of the Northern Kingdom. All right. It says the syphilis experiment in Guatemala. The United States led human experiments conducted in Guatemala from 1946 to 1948. The experiment was led by physician John Charles Coulter, who also participated in the late stages of the Tuskegee experiment. Doctors infected soldiers, prostitutes, prisoners, mental patients with syphilis and other sexually transmitted diseases without the informed consent of the subjects. The experiment resulted in at least 83 deaths. Surgery studies continued through 1953 involving the same vulnerable population, in addition to children from the state-run schools and orphanage. So the state-run government schools, you know what I'm saying, and these children in the orphanage, all right, in rural towns, though the international infection of patients ended with the original study. On October 1st, 2010, the U.S. President, Secretary of State, and Secretary of Health and Human Services formally apologized to Guatemala for the ethical violations that took place. Guatemala condemned the experiment as a crime against humanity. The lawsuit has since been filed. All right, so this took place in 1946 to 48. Now they finally came to apologize in 2010. All right. So just think about these things. They knew what they were doing from the time when they started putting these things out. It was an experiment that was conducted. All right. They did these experiments where they infected people, healthy people, with these diseases to see what would happen. Who were they experiment test patients? Jake, you Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. So we touched on the Native Americans. Now we touched on the Latino tribes. All right. Now this is the Tuskegee experiment. All right. Tuskegee experiment of untreated syphilis in Negro males. Basically the exact same story, but this is on, we talking now about the Negroes, because now we touched on the so-called natives, we touched on the so-called Latinos, now the so-called Negroes. Now who's the other culprit in all these people? The Edomites, the so-called white man. So we see that the so-called white man has been treating you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans the exact same way, man. Tuskegee's study of untreated syphilis in a Negro male, informally referred to as the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. All right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans was nothing more than lab rats to them, man. All right, the Esau's the mad goddamn doctor seeing what he could do out here, man. All right, the Tuskegee experiment study, the Tuskegee study of untreated syphilis in African American male, the U.S. Public Health Service syphilis study at Tuskegee, or the Tuskegee experiment, was an unethical natural history study conducted between 1932 and 1972. But come on, man, these long ass gaps in time. First of all, one day is long enough. But these big ass gaps in time, they didn't tell you like, look, we infecting you niggas out here, whatever, whatnot. But they would come out with the so-called science or whatever. Maybe you niggas need to stop having unprotected sex. Maybe you niggas need to stop being gay out here, or whatever the fact, or whatever they come up with. They have these certain type of lifestyles, or the so-called Negroes, they infected with all these things. Beforehand, they used to say, you know, so-called white folks was brainwashing their children, thinking that all so-called black men got AIDS and everything like that. But who's out here pushing these things out here, man? All right, when you go back and you find out about these patents and so on and so forth about AIDS and all these things, man, all these things was created in laboratories, man. All right, it says the Tuskegee experiment was an unethical natural history study conducted between 1932 and 1972 by the United States Public Health Services and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, same people that we're dealing with today. The purpose of the study was to observe the natural history of untreated syphilis. The African American men who participated in the studies were told that they were receiving free health care from the federal government of the United States. That's all we need to really read about, man. All right, so how do we relate this to today, man? They about to give you a free jab or something that they ain't even really tested out or whatever, whatnot, but they want to basically give it to you first, serve you first, because they want to help you out. All right, we're gonna just jump into some scriptures, man. Cause this is the damn devil that we speak about, man. All right. First of all, let me see if I can find something real quick. I don't want to make this too long. I think it's in Exodus 1 though. This is Exodus 1 and 9. And he said unto his people, verse 8, now there arose a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join unto our enemies and fight against us, so get them up out of the land. So you have to understand that at this point in time, we was in captivity under the Hamites, these Africans, so-called Africans, right? They had the same mindset, like, you know what? We got them. This is just regular common sense, man. You got another nation in captivity. They not going to like your ass. So if they see an enemy coming in or whatever, whatnot, they might try to fight with the enemy to try to save their ass. Like, well, shit, these niggas don't like these niggas. Maybe if we band together with these niggas, we might be free. But then what? Our slave masters decided to basically enact what? Planned Parenthood. This is how you know it today, but it's also known as genocide, all right? Trying to kill off the people. Let me jump down. All right, verse 16. Let me start at 15. Exodus 1 and 15. And the king of Egypt spake unto the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of one was Shapira, and the other was Pua. And he said, when you do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and you see upon the stools, if it be a son, then you shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. So what you have to understand, let me, but nevertheless, what you have to understand here is, going back to what we tell you, that the seed, you are who your father is. It goes back to the males, right? So if they would have succeeded with this, killing off all the males, right, and left all the women there, they could have just basically repopulated with all of our women, and then you would have been ending up with a whole bunch of Hamite babies, right? We wouldn't have been around no more if they would have killed off all the males and just had sex with all our women and procreated with them. You would have just had a bunch of Hamite women. This is why they say kill all the men children that was coming, and so on and so forth. But what do we see? How is this brought into modern days today, man? All right, you call it Planned Parenthood. Same agenda, same situation, man. All right. Hey, never trust thy enemy, man. All right. I'm gonna go from there to Book of Micah. Micah 2, verse 1 and 2. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds when the morning is light. They practice it because it is in their power of their hand. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses, and they take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. So this is what they've been trying to do the whole time, man. Because why? They wind up selling the birthright, and they trying to get it back, man. All right, and their plan is to kill us all off, man. When you go into what's it called? COINTELPRO. When you go into COINTELPRO, the mission behind COINTELPRO, look it up. Look up the mission behind COINTELPRO. All right, the main basis was to stop the rise of a black messiah. This was in their words, right? So they basically the same situation was going on here. Same situation that was going on in the time of when Yahushua was being born. That's what Herod said. Oh, we see the sign of the star, basically of Yahushua, right? Oh, go ahead and kill off all the babies at this age on down. You know what I'm saying? Same thing, man. All right, they're afraid that one day because they know that the Lord's gonna come back for His remnant. So what? They trying to kill off, basically the elect, man. All right. So it says, let me read that again. Verse 1 and 2, it says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. All right, and this is what they're doing, devising this wickedness, this evil, man. Ways to kill us off. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hands. This is what the wicked do, man. This is why we don't call them the wicked because we don't like these niggas or nothing like that. They are the embodiment of wickedness, man. This is what they do, man. With all their modern science and technology and medicines and shit, what do they do with these things? They weaponize everything, man. All their technology, what do they do with it? Weaponize it, man. They don't use none of these things for the good. They weaponize every damn thing, man. All right? They covet fields. They take them by violence. All right? They don't have a fair game. Hey, look, man, I'll challenge you to a game of X, Y, and Z. And if I win, I take this. And if you lose, you know what I'm saying? So on and so. No, they go in there by the force of the sword, man. All right? They want to cut us off. They want to get this here birthright back by what? By violence. And a house, and they take them away so that they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. So we have our ways, our law, statutes, commandments. But what? They write these grievous laws and things like that, so we can't keep the law, statutes, commandments, man. What are they doing right now, man? The Most High say, don't take that jab, don't take the chip, man. And what is Esau out here saying? All right, well, look, we got quarantine camps for your ass, man. You won't get a job, you ain't gonna get housing, we gonna take your kids, and hey, man, we got the laws written for these things, man. All right. Hey, we should be following our leaders, right? How come Cuomo don't get it first, man? We want to follow the leaders. Y'all should set the heads of example. Aren't we slaves unto y'all? Set the example. Let me see y'all really go get these things, man. All right. Let me go from there to the book of Psalms. Psalms 37 and 12. The wicked plotteth against the just and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. All right. What do you think? So most of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans don't really know. You know about, Congress, the Senate, and the president. But you have no idea about the think tanks that's behind all of these. Them niggas is no more than puppets. They don't do anything. They just the face of the people you talk to. All right? Just like the manager of McDonald's and shit like them niggas ain't nobody, man. All right? Even the general managers of McDonald's, this the people in the corporate buildings that's making all the decisions that the managers and so on, they got to follow after their guys, man. All right? But nevertheless, you have things like the Brand Corporation, the Tavistock Institute, these big ass think tanks to sit back and plan and plot on how to destroy you niggas, man. All right, the what's that shit called? The Committee of 300, Trilateral Commission. All right, what is it? CFR, what is it? The Center on Foreign Relations or something like that. Y'all have no idea about these think tanks. These niggas are in their offices way longer than these presidents. You look up this dude named Zerbig Brzezinski. Zerbig Brzezinski. This nigga been in the White House longer than any president, man. All right, he's dead now, but he was in the office, I believe, under the Jimmy Carter administration, I believe the first Bush, the second Bush, and even all the way up, I believe, up into Obama's administration, man. All right, so if you think that the president got the nigga the highest seat in the office, no, they have advisors. They take advice from people who's been sitting in these think tanks that plan and plot things, man. Look up Henry Kissinger. This nigga ain't no world leader or nothing like that, but he is controlling massive populations, man. All right, but these type of people, like just like the Rothschilds, they don't want to be presidents and things like that, man. All right, they control everything from behind the scenes, man. All right, let me read that again. Psalms 37:12. The wicked plotteth against the just and gnasheth upon him with his teeth. Like I said, look up these think tanks, man, and what they really do and how much power and control they have. The Tavistock Institute, the Rand Corporation, the Center on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, the Committee of 300. All right, all these different groups and things like that. The Bilderberg Group, man. All right, they sit there and plan and plot ways of how things are going to go, man. All right. The Lord shall laugh at him, for he seeth that his day cometh. The wicked have drawn out the sword and have bent their bows to cast down the poor and the needy, to slay such as be of upright conversation. All right. So you think that Esau really has any? Hey, what do they have to do? What does wickedness have to do with righteousness, man? What do you think these niggas got in mind for you? You know, what does the crook got to do with the so-called law-abiding citizen, man? You know, you got the dude that's over here paying his taxes and doing everything right and everything like that, and you know, he middle of the night, been sitting at a red light for 45 minutes. He still won't run a damn red light, even though ain't nobody around. What does somebody like him got to do with a habitual thief who can't stop? He's still out of his left pocket to give to his right pocket, man. What do these two guys got in common? If you put them in a room together, the damn thief gonna wind up stealing from the damn law-abiding citizen, man. All right. It says, verse 15, the sword shall enter into his own heart, and their bows shall be broken. All right, so hey, look at what's going on, man. They documented all these different things they've been done to us, took in all these pictures and put it all into history, whatever, whatnot. But now his own tongue is coming out to, and his own records is coming out to slay his ass right now, man. All right. Let me just read verse 16. A little that a righteous man hath is better than the riches of many wicked. And that little that a righteous man hath is what? Faith. Faith in the Most High and his son Yahweh to come deliver us, man. All your riches can't save you in these days, man, because hey, at the end all be all in the situation that we're looking at now, man, you're going to have to make a choice, man. You're going to give up your riches or whatever, whatnot, on whatever type of level that you in, man. You're going to give up your riches just to so-called stand firm for Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, because, you know, like the scriptures say, roughly paraphrasing, where man's heart is, so is, or where man is like riches is, so is his heart, man. If that's what you really into, man, that's where your mind is really going to be at, man. If you're really into getting this here money, that's where your mind is going to be at, man. But if your mind is really serving the Lord, that's where your mind is going to be at, man. All right. So let me go from there to Psalms 55:20. He has put forth his hand against such as be at peace with him. He has broken his covenant. All right. So, hey, look, he put forth his hand as such as be at peace with him. So we read earlier in one of his articles or whatever, whatnot, about how the natives was bucking back against these damn Edomites because of their broken treaties already, man. I believe it was like over 410 treaties that they signed with the so-called Native Americans, and they broke every last one of them, man. All right. He has put forth his hand against such as be at peace with him, and hath broken his covenant. Now, if it wasn't for the so-called Native Americans, these Edomites wouldn't have been able to survive over here, because these niggas didn't know how to hunt or farm the lands that was over here, man, or survive the how you say the elements over here, man. It was the Native Americans who wound up showing them how to farm and everything over here and how to survive over here, man. But what? He showed you how to survive and live over here. The so-called natives showed the Edomites how to survive and live over here. And what did they wind up doing, man? Hit them with genocide, with biological warfare, killed off their food supply, killed off the damn buffalo and everything like that, man. All right. Tainted the water supply and everything like that, man. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. All right. Yeah, we want to help you niggas out. Oh, we know y'all cold. Here go a peace offering. Here go some blankets or whatever, whatnot. We want to give you free medical treatment or whatever, whatnot. Hey, you can't come out and say this is medical misinformation, because this is documented. You niggas documented this shit, man. We reading your resources, man. This is what's in history, and the government apologized about these things to the Guatemalans. I don't know about to the so-called Negroes, but this is history, man. This is written down in the history book, so it's not medical misinformation. So why should we ever trust our enemies, man? Look what the hell they've been doing, and we want to trust them now. Just, I can say this now. Just last year, because it's 2021, but just last year, a couple months ago, y'all say hands up, don't shoot, no justice, no peace. We don't trust you niggas with y'all guns around our children. But now you want to trust this nigga over here with this medical situation we got going on? It says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords. Just like I said, man, talking about the dude that run up on you with the pistol to your face, telling you to run all that shit, versus the dude that's over here like, yeah. Just, put your trust into us and sign this and sign that, and we got the better, they both thieves. But which one is more honorable? The dude that ran up and put the pistol to your face and told you to run all that shit. That nigga's way more honorable than the dude that's like, look, man, we know you've been struggling out here or whatever, whatnot. The most underserved community. We never put you guys first, but we want to take care of you and your children and make sure that y'all have the health benefits that y'all need. We want to give y'all this here jab first or whatever, whatnot. Then lo and behold, 30, 40, 50, 60 years later, oh shit, we've been injecting y'all with syphilis. Not all we fucked up and been injecting y'all with syphilis and smallpox. No, we knew what the hell we was doing from before we even gave it to y'all. Before the first Jake got the first syphilis shot, they planned, orchestrated, and plotted these things, man. Before they gave the handkerchief and the blankets, these things was plotted. Before they just started destroying the water supply, these things was plotted. Before they tried to kill off the buffalo, these things was planned and plotted, man. All right. It says, though the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords. Y'all hate us because we be using all kind of rough language. Oh, man, fuck these niggas or whatever, whatnot, so on and so forth. But then y'all like the pork chop eating pacifist, speaking these smooth words or whatever, whatnot. But who's really killing y'all off the most, man? Who told you the Most High's name and his son name who you can call on when you in trouble, man? It ain't these niggas. They've been telling you to call on God and Jesus Christ, all right? These niggas telling you to go get jabbed up, man. When we breaking down the real scriptures to you, man. We telling you who your enemy is, man. All right? And we telling you who you are according to the scriptures, man. What have these niggas done for you, man? All right? Besides lie to you, man. These are the damn devils, man. Let me get these two off real quick. Isaiah 5, and I didn't read this already. Isaiah 5 and 20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. So, hey, man, you think that what we saying to you, is actually evil, but it's actually the truth, man. The truth ain't always so-called good to hear or whatever, whatnot, man. It may be so-called, it may hurt your feelings or whatever, whatnot, but is it true? Did the so-called white man document in his own history and his own medical records and apologize for some of these things? Is it not true that he did not have the best intentions for you? He wanted to kill you niggas off, your whole race off. In fact, you can go, what's it, the Ephraimites? Yeah, the so-called, look up the Taino Indians, all right? Look up the so-called Taino Indians, how they genocided them down to a number of 500. There's only 500 of you so-called Puerto Ricans left, man, all right? But, yeah, you fruitful as a bow, you came back. But nevertheless, this is what their plan was, man, to murder you all off, man. Look at the Manhattan. What the hell? Look at the history of that, man. All right? But lo and behold, you know what I'm saying? They call us, oh, y'all evil, y'all hate, y'all preaching hate out there. You may say that we preaching hate, but what are these niggas actually doing out here, man? I can say all damn day long how I'm going to fuck you niggas up. I'm gonna hurt you niggas, kill you niggas, and X, Y, and Z, this, and that. But if I put my hands on you, am I really doing anything to you? But this nigga say, yeah, brother, I love you. Yeah, brother, I just want to get close. And yeah, brother, you got any problems? You can give me a house key to your house or whatever, whatnot. While you at work, I'll come and check on you, make sure ain't nobody fucking with your wife or whatever, whatnot, and roll right up in there while you at work. Oh, thanks, Tom. Roll right up in there, sleeping with your wife, raping your wife, killing your kids, poisoning your dog, and everything else, and taking all your money while you at work, and then smile at your face. Yeah, everything's all right, Dominique. Everything is fine, Javaris or whatever, whatnot. And you think that Tom is over here the best nigga in the whole world because he's talking to you smooth with his smooth forked ass tongue, man. This nigga the damn devil, man. You know what I'm saying? But it say, hey, but if Jake was like, hey, nigga, you need to watch your bitch over there, man. Hey, I think there's some shit going on. Hey, man, you better watch your mouth how you talking to me. I'm trying to show you love, brother, telling you the truth. But this nigga you think is actually telling you with his smooth words, but really in reality, man, this nigga is out to get you, man. All right? Isaiah 5 and 20 and 21. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe to them that are wise in their own eyes and prudent in their own sight. And this is what a lot of our people are going into. They're not going into the history, the facts, or any of these things that are actually truth. All right, they don't research any of these things. If you take the same mind and I brought up these same facts and I made them read these things, what happened to the so-called Native Americans, the so-called the Latinos, the Guatemalans, the Taino Indians, the so-called Negroes. If I had any of our people read these things off, and I say, hey, again, who was the people who did this to these people? It's the so-called white man, right? His intentions. It wasn't an accident, a freak accident where something just spilled off and these people wound up dying off. They intentionally did these things to them. They were like, well, did they have bad intentions? Like if you had any kind of common sense, like, yeah, they did. You know, why would you want to trust your enemies now? Am I really becoming your enemy because I tell you the truth about these things? More of our people hate us because this is how we speak to them, but they don't look at the actions of why we so fucked up in the hood right now in our neighborhoods, why our children got autism and everything like that, and you know they all bugged the hell out, and why they all want to be twerking and showing off the wop and being dope boys and drinking lean all day. Who's in control of the record companies and all these different things and the television and entertainment and all these things, man? All right, it's our enemies, man. All right, programming our people to do these things, man. All right. Last one, Isaiah. We're going to close out here. Isaiah 10:1. It says, woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees, that write grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn away the needy from judgment, to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, that they may rob the fatherless. All right. So, hey, woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees, because they're about to start putting these things in by law, man. All right. And then, hey, we don't want to hear from our people like, hey, well, you got to do it. You got to do it. And we try to be safe or whatever, whatnot. Hey, man, look, man, never trust our enemy, man. We done brought out the facts, the history, and so on and so forth, man. And, hey, have some integrity, man. You know what I'm saying? Die like a man. All right? Die for something, man. You got sons. If you a man, you got sons, die like a man. Hey, man, I'd rather die on my feet than down on my knees, man. You know what I'm saying? Fuck all that, man. If I'm going to be in captivity or in whatever, whatnot, if I'm going to be serving another man, let it be Yahweh Shah, man. Fuck all everything else. These are enemies, man. They ain't never showed us no kind of love since how did we get over here, man? We didn't get over here off an act of love. All right? How did this land change hands from the so-called Native Americans to the so-called white man? It wasn't through an act of love. All right. When should we trust these? When should we trust these niggas, man? And to these Edomites say, oh, you hate your country, whatever, whatnot. We done went through the history. Why would we? The so-called Native history, the so-called Latino history, and the so-called Negro history, dealing with just the medical situation. That's just the medical situation. All right, and just certain cases. We could be here for years and years and years on end. All right, because Esau documented these things. But why should we trust them? Why should we love them? If a woman, you so-called Negro women, if you had a man that every time you came home from work, this nigga got another woman in the house and he's sleeping with her or whatever, whatnot, or lying or sleeping with other men, would you trust him? Hey, baby, I ain't gonna do it no more. Would you trust him? Y'all be quick to run up out the door. But what about the so-called white man? How many chances do he get? All right. I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, this here lesson was edifying unto the elect. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and that rule well. And salutation and much love for your Akim pushing this truth and sincerity over the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.